Alright, it's been a long time, but I've been thinking about Luffy a lot lately. And I know that sounds like the start of an anime deep dive video, but this really isn't an anime video. Maybe it is something different for what I've been uploading the past couple months, but it's just something that I've been sitting with, and I need to get it out. Because if you know me, I love One Piece, I love Luffy. I can yap about Luffy for hours, okay? And I have some notes in front of me because there are some things, some points I want to make clear in the video. Because there's something about the way Luffy moves around the world that I can't stop thinking about. Like, he has this thing where nothing seems to shake him, ever. Not in an arrogant way, not in the I'm so strong that nothing matters way. He's just settled. He's chill. Like, he really knows who he is. And side note, he's him. Luffy is him. And no situation, no person, no amount of pressure is going to change that. And the older I get, the more I realize how rare that actually is. I just turned 23, so I'm getting up there in the Unk Nation, you know what I'm saying? What is going on? Because most people I know are still figuring it out. They are still adjusting themselves depending on who's in the room. They are still saying yes when they actually mean no. They are still chasing things that they don't even want, because somewhere along the way they convince themselves that they want it, you know? And look, I'm a victim. I do it too. I'm not exempt from this. And I think that's why Luffy hits differently when you actually stop and pay attention to him. Not in a character way, but as a way of being in the world. Like, if you actually look at Luffy, not as him being a main character in One Piece, but just like his way, his philosophy of being in this world, it will change your life, literally. And one point that I have written down here is freedom. So let's talk about his freedom, because I think most people misunderstand it. When people hear Luffy wants to be free, they picture someone with no attachments, no responsibilities, someone who just does whatever they want and doesn't care about anything. But if you know Luffy, he's not like that at all. Luffy has a crew he would die for. He has a dream he's been carrying since he was like 7 years old or 6 years old. He cries, generally cries when people he loves are hurting. And he slides back for them, literally. He's not detached from the world. He's more attached to it more than anyone else, if you think about it. He just doesn't let the world tell him who to be. Or he doesn't let the world tell him who he is. And I think that distinction matters, because real freedom, the kind that Luffy wants, or the kind that Luffy has, it's not about having nothing to lose. It's about being unbothered by everything. It's about being so clear on who you are that nothing outside of you gets to define you. No one's opinions, no one's expectations, no one's version of what your life should be, or no one's version of your life should look like. Luffy decided who he was early. He wanted to be the Pirate King. He wanted to be a pirate. And he just never let go of that. Because look, Luffy said it to himself in chapter 1 of One Piece. He doesn't want to conquer anything. He doesn't want the power for the sake of power. He just believes that the Pirate King is the freest person in the world. So that's what he's going after. Not the title, the freedom. And the way he goes after it just is as telling as the dream itself. We still don't know what Luffy's dream is, don't get me wrong. But if you know Luffy, he doesn't plan. He doesn't sit down and calculate the odds. He doesn't wait until he feels ready or until conditions are perfect. He just moves. He's like that. If he wants something, he's gonna go get it. If someone is in trouble, he runs into it without thinking. Look at the whole Marineford arc, and the arc before it, and the arc before that. Someone tells him he can't do something, and it generally doesn't even register to him as a real obstacle. That's how you're supposed to be thinking. And it's not because Luffy is reckless. Well, he is. But it's because doubt doesn't live inside of him the way it lives in most people. Because I know what it feels like to have an idea and immediately start listing reasons why it won't work. This YouTube channel, for an instant. To want something and feel embarrassed by how much you want it. To be so aware of what other people might think that you start editing yourself before you even begin. And Luffy doesn't even have that voice. Even if you read the manga, he doesn't even have inner thoughts or inner monologue, because that's just who he is. And if he does, he never listens to his own thoughts. And I generally don't know if that's something you're born with or something you build. But either way, it is something. And then Gear 5 happened. And spoilers, if you're still new to One Piece, this is a spoiler warning. And I think that's when it really clicked for me. Because Gear 5 wasn't just a power-up. It was like the story finally showing you what Luffy looks like at his most free. He literally says it in his, like, in the manga and in the anime. This is his most freest form. He's laughing. He laughed in the middle of everything at his absolute limit against someone who has just beaten him 3 times, by the way. And he died in one of those times. In a fight that should have been... Look, now a car is just like disturbing me, bro. In a fight that should have been over. And the first thing that comes out of him was laughter. Pure joy. Like, even at his lowest point, his default state is still happiness. He might be a little bit psychotic now that I think about it, but it is what it is. That's Luffy, bro. And that's not a small thing. That is someone who is free on the inside. Not just free from the rules or the authority of the world government, of the world government, but free from the weight of the weight that most of us carry around all the time. The weight of overthinking, the weight of what everyone else is going to say, the weight of feeling like you have to justify your own existence to people. Like, Luffy, he doesn't carry any of that. And watching that fight, I just kept thinking, what would it feel like to be that light? To move through life just like him. To want things without apologizing or wanting them. To fail at something and not let it become a story you tell yourself about who you are. You know what I'm saying? To just get back up, to keep getting back up, laugh, and keep going. Because one thing that I love about Luffy is that somehow, some way, he always gets back up. That's why he's one of my favorite characters. That's why Spider-Man is also one of my favorite characters, because he always gets back up. And I think that's the reason Luffy resonates with so many people. The reason we cry at his wins, even though we know it's a cartoon. Oh, anime. It's because we recognize something in him that we either have lost or never had. That certainty, that unbothered, unshamed, complete, decided version of a person. And most of us are so far from that. We're waiting to feel ready, waiting for someone to tell us it's okay to want what we want. We're waiting for the right moment that keeps not coming. Because if you keep on waiting for the right moment, that right moment, you will be waiting forever. That's just life. And Luffy, he just never waits. Not once in an entire story, now that I think about it. And look, I'm not saying I have this all figured out, because I really don't. Because I still catch myself shrinking sometimes. I haven't uploaded a video in a minute because I started overthinking a lot. I'm still editing what I say depending on the room. I'm starting a lot in this video, but I'm not editing anything. I'm not editing any of them out. I'm still waiting on things I should have already moved on from. But I think there's something valuable in just having a picture of what the opposite of that looks like, if you know what I mean. And for me, that picture is Monkey D. Luffy. Not because he's perfect, not because his life is easy, but because he shows you that what it looks like to be completely themselves, or what a person looks like when he's completely himself. No performance, like no calculations, no version of him that he puts out for different people, no different personalities, just him, all the time. And I think that's the one thing I keep coming back to. Not the fights, not the power-ups, although they are cool. If you read the manga, if you watch the anime, oof, don't even get me started. It's just that. The idea that you can move through this world exactly as you are. And that can be enough. I mean, that can actually be enough. Anyways, I know this is something different for what I mostly upload, but if you like this type of videos, I might keep them coming. Anyways, it's been a long time. I miss making videos. I miss my supporters. Thank you so much. And as always, stay real.